Many of you out there know the massive influence that Audemars Piguet and Patek Philippe have over the watch world when it comes to steel sport watches. The main culprits that copy these watches are the Maurice Lacroix Icon, the Piaget Polo, and of course the super luxurious AliExpress Royal Oak. But a challenger has arisen and is causing a storm in the integrated bracelet steel watch game. I present you the Tissot PRX. But there seems to be a divide within this model as the various factions of watch snobs can't decide whether to side with the Quartz or the automatic. So in today's video, I will compare the two versions and provide you with a definitive answer on what is the better buy. But before we get into that, comment down below what one you would pick right off the bat, and maybe I might change your mind. I will be judging these two watches on three main factors, with the first one being the price to value proposition. Starting with the Quartz, a retail price of around 500 Aussie dollars seems like a pretty good deal for a Swiss made watch of this status, but let's take a deeper dive to see if it's really worth the price. What you are mainly paying for is the design on this model, as a pretty basic Swiss Quartz is featured. But unpopular opinion alert, I believe the Quartz is in the end amazing value for money. One may say that for $500 you can get some pretty good ETA-based and in-house movements from brands like Hamilton and Seiko, and well, that's very true. But with those watches, they cut corners on various elements and are not in very high demand in the wider world of consumers. The reason why Tissot originally featured Quartz as the main flagship model was that it appeals to a wider range of people who want the accuracy and ease of a Quartz plus the gerald genta look, without spending a few $100s extra just to get an automatic movement. The Powermatic 80 PRX without a doubt has a stunning movement, but when the retail is double the Quartz, I don't think it's worth the extra price hike. Because the PRX is meant to be a flashback to the 70s and 80s where Quartz was the rage, plus it's mainly a design orientated watch with high levels of finishing. So it's fair to say, in my opinion, that the Quartz model gets the point here as the better value for money proposition. Our second factor, and one that is controversial, is which model has been more influenced by the Patek Philippe Nautilus and the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, because we would all love a PRX that looks like the gerald genta masterpieces, but one which isn't a homage or a straight copy. The first thing you see with the automatic model is the obvious parallel to the Royal Oak, which has the famous Clos de Paris dial design. Without a doubt, Tissot have drawn inspiration and it does look very, very similar, but the rest of the watch actually looks more like a Patek Philippe Nautilus, because the Powermatic 80 doesn't have the octagonal case and bezel, plus the bracelet design that the Royal Oak has. However, the PRX has more similar features, such as the extended sides on the case, the same sort of bracelet linkage, and almost identical hands and indices on the dial. This is why the Quartz model is skating on thin ice, as it shares all these Patek-like elements with the Powermatic, but has a suspicious dial as well. The Quartz has a blue background, which is like the Patek 5711's iconic blue gradient one. Whilst the PRX doesn't have the same horizontal line texture, it still is a very similar dial. So this is why the Powermatic 80 levels the scores at 1-all, as it draws inspiration from both AP and Patek, but doesn't have the same Nautilus comparisons that the Quartz model shares. Our final round, and one which will decide who is the Tissot king of genta copycats, is which one has the better overall specifications. This is the hard part about distinguishing the quality of the Quartz and the automatic, as they are pretty much the exact same watch, except for one key difference: the movement. One can say that the Quartz is more accurate and reliable, plus it makes the overall case thinner and feel better on the wrist. These are all very valid points, but the automatic version just sends the quality to a whole new dimension. The Powermatic 80 movement used by Tissot is very, very solid and impressive for under 1,000 Aussie dollars, as various specifications are on par and if not better than some luxury Swiss pieces. For example, a Rolex Submariner has a pretty good power reserve of 72 hours, but Tissot manages to fit a whopping 80 hours on the PRX. Now, don't get me wrong, the Rolex caliber is way more accurate and reliable, but this still does not denigrate than PRX's quality for money movement. So I give the Powermatic 80 another point over the Quartz, making the score 2-1. But I also must say this, if you want a better value for money piece, I would strongly recommend getting the Quartz model. However, if you want your PRX to not look exactly like a nautilus and to be statistically a better watch, then I would spend the extra few $100 and get the automatic version. But don't click off now, as if you want to see a full review on both of these awesome Swiss genta style watches, click the videos on the screen right now. Also, if you like Tissot and other affordable alternative to luxury watches content, please consider subscribing to this channel. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I will see you in another video.